So those assisting the recording, welcome to this workshop. Okay, so I'm going to share some slides because I'm going to talk a bit about what's anxiety, why do we have it, and how do we manage it. And then we do a few exercises so you get to experience a little bit of the effect of them. And then I'll leave some time for questions at the end. Okay, so just get the slides ready. Okay, so says here you can see the slides. So this workshop is, as I said before, is a general, I'm just going to give you general information about what is anxiety, why do we have it, and how do we manage it. So let's start with the first. Okay. So before anything, let me say a little bit about me. I fell in love with mental health when I was just 14, and I had met a partner at the time who had schizophrenia, and I became very interested in just mental health in general. Since then, I've been all over the world, UK, Australia, and the Netherlands, trying to understand the human psyche, and I took a lot of different courses: neuroscience, psychology, psychotherapy, somatic psychotherapy. I'm also a dancer. I'm a dance neuroscientist, so I'm very connected to the body as well. And I do like other somatic practices such as Butoh dance, and I studied philosophy as well. I also had a difficult upbringing and frequent trauma, suffering, and went through a lot of grief. And I also suffered from anxiety and panic attacks. So I'm speaking from experience as well. And my natural tendency to be a good listener and to be able to tune into people and help them has really led me to understand this is my purpose. And yeah, at this point, I became a life coach and a mental health life coach. Okay, so, and I'm originally from Portugal. What else can I say about me? I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so the what? So what is anxiety? And here I'm put like few main points, so we can go through them. So first, it's not an enemy. Anxiety is not an enemy. It's just a friend who's not always helpful. I like this idea, we all have those friends who are not always helpful. They want to help, but sometimes they're just not helping, right? So anxiety is that. Anxiety is a friend because it's there to protect us, but it's not always helpful. And what happens is, if we look at our brain structure, our brain is designed to constantly detect threats in the environment. Okay, so like whatever threats there are. And at the beginning of humanity, we had a lot of threats all the time because we lived in caves, and like so many things we had to look for. And so anxiety is the reason why we are here. It's the reason why we are here, because it has protected us from external environment. And also, anxiety is the result, the product of anticipating something. So not only a threat that is in the environment happening, but anticipating that will happen. So with experience, we learn that, A can cause B. So if A can cause B, I want to avoid A in the future. We get these experiences, memorized experiences. And the problem is, not always a threat is really a threat. And not always what we are concerned about in the future is actually something that's going to happen or that is threatening us. And the other problem is that the brain doesn't know the difference between something real, something that's actually happening, and a thought. So if you think right now something bad is happening, then you feel the feeling of anxiety, you feel like something is wrong, and you get the body response to the thought, even if it's not happening. Okay? So if you have like a phobia, think about phobia. Have a phobia and you think about, let's say spiders, then straight away you get this feeling of like the spider is not there, but just thinking and imagining a spider can trigger that fear. So it's basically a fear, and it's a neurotic fear. So here we're talking about anxiety as a pathology. We're not talking about normal anxiety. Everyone has anxiety. Everyone has anxiety. Everyone has sadness. Everyone has, joy. Everyone has like different things, different states of being. That's absolutely normal. But when it becomes pathological, which means it happens frequently, and it actually disrupts our ability to live normally, then it becomes a pathology and becomes this neurotic fear. Okay? So neurotic comes from the killing pleasure. So neurotic is about the word comes from killing the pleasure. What is basically is always an anticipation, as I said before. So when we're having anxiety, like we're anticipating something bad to happen, or we are thinking something bad is happening, which could be, but it could also be just a result of the thoughts, of the thinking, of the worry. And then what is also anxiety is this inundation of feeling. So when the feeling becomes too much, here, when we start feeling too much, the body has to express the feeling. Different ways that the body can express the feeling, expanding that feeling. And sometimes when it becomes too much, the body is it's trying to express, trying to feel everything at the same time. And also anxiety is being the future. It's like we are everywhere, less the present moment when we have anxiety attacks. So basically, anxiety is just, it's just the threats that we have nowadays. They are very different. We don't have like lions after us. We don't have, we don't live in a cave and have animals attacking us. We are not trying to go to the forest to get some food, and we need to be cautious about everything. We have different kind of threats, and the threats can be, I don't know, financial insecurity. It can be not having stability. It can be losing the job. Could be a lot of different things. Could be being in a stable or toxic relationship. So there's a lot of different. It just has changed, but our brain, the way brain reacts to things, has not changed. The same thing. The response is the same thing. Another thing to know about anxiety is that when we are anxious, we are in our sympathetic nervous system. There are two nervous systems, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic one is the nervous system that activates us. So when we are active, when we are in danger, and this is the nervous system that propels us for action. You do something, you have to do something. You have the parasympathetic nervous system that calms down the nervous system. It's a more like quiet, not moving, more like a peaceful. So this kind of like nervous system, and they kind of like, they switch on and off, they interact with each other in our daily lives. Okay. So for instance, when you are in let's say in a roller coaster, that the sympathetic nervous system activates because you're having like these activities, this adrenaline. But that's not a bad thing. It's like super activated. It's not a bad thing. You're having fun. So this is like a different kind of anxiety as well. When something is really exciting and you just get like anxious, it's kind of like the same body state, right? But the reason of that body state is different. And the meaning you attribute to that is also different. Okay, so already, excuse me, I already mentioned a little bit about this. But what I want to say is that when we perceive a threat, the brain only cares about your survival. I mean, first of all, the brain only cares about your survival. Your survival is first all the time. So it's not the bills you have to pay, it's not the thing you have to do, it's not the shopping you have to make, it's your survival. Before anything, the brain is concerned with this survival, being alive. Okay? Survival, survival, survival. When we perceive a threat, whatever that is, then the brain is super active. I mean, it's a very dangerous, life-threatening thing. The brain shuts down everything that is not needed. That includes your digestion. It's not needed. We don't need this now. That's why you get sick. You get like stomach ache. You get your heart is racing. Maybe you're shaking. You get this rush of adrenaline because your body just wants to shut down everything, prepares you for action, for you to protect yourself, to fight or freeze. Okay, do something to survive. So this is why you get all the weird symptoms that don't feel really nice, because it feels like your body is like parts of your body are shutting down and it feels really scary. And then you are scared because you feel the feelings. And then at some point you are anxious because you are anxious, and you're scared because you're scared, and you have fears of the fear. And what happens in anxiety is we sometimes is like, okay, we have anxiety attacks and we get scared of getting anxiety. Sorry, we get scared of getting anxiety attacks, right? So then what happens in these is that we are scared of getting the anxiety attack. And as soon as we feel like just a little bit of a symptom of an anxiety attack, we trigger the anxiety attack because we are scared of it. So we become anxious about anxiety. So it's like, and the thing that we should do now, getting a little bit into the how, is that we have to not be scared of anxiety. How do we do this? I'm just going to mute whoever just came in. So how do we do this? We have to understand that in the anxious state is remembering that those sensations, they are not going to kill you. They are not going to do any harm to you, because remember, anxiety is a friend. So whatever you're feeling is your brain, your body protecting you. So it's like, okay, you're feeling that those sensations, they're horrible, right? You can't breathe and you're feeling all of this. And at that moment, it's helpful to think, okay, this is my body protecting me, it's my brain protecting me, this is protecting, this is horrible, I don't like to feel this, but this is protection. Is understanding it's okay first, because that helps you not being scared of anxiety, anxious about anxiety. And when the little sensation comes in, that sensation that you feel, you're like, okay, you don't trigger an anxiety attack when you feel a little symptom of an anxiety attack. And sometimes this happens, like, I don't know, people who like get the symptom of shaking, and then something happens in the environment and they start shaking because of something else. Doesn't matter. They start shaking because something else. Like I said, they just drank a cup of coffee and they start shaking. Then they're like, oh, damn, I'm having an anxiety attack. And they start triggering the rest of the symptoms, and it just triggering an entire anxiety attack. Okay? Because the brain remembers, the brain gets scared, so the anxiety attack becomes a threat itself. The brain remembers how is an anxiety attack, gets scared of the symptoms, and say, okay, this is the thing we don't like, and triggers an anxiety attack.
Yeah, Danny and I chat some for our dinner.
Okay, so let me just go forward. Now let's get a little bit into the how. Okay, if you have more questions about this, then you can ask me it. So anxiety only subsides when the threat is no longer there. Okay, so when everything is under control, the brain is like, okay, can go back. It's fine. I'm safe now. We need to bring back the body and the self to safety. And I'll give you tips later on how to do. But that's the main point. Now, this thinking positively, and someone's having an anxiety attack, like, oh, like everything is fine, and you don't worry about that, everything will be fine, and just think positive, think about unicorns and sparkles and trees. That's all very interesting, but it doesn't work. Okay. Because here we're working on the cognitive level, and we are not just this. We are cognition, feeling, and motion. Yeah, 3 different things. We think, we feel, we move. So we have these 3 different aspects and these 3 different layers to the human, which is the brain, the mind, and the body. And here we're working on the cognition, the brain. Cognitively, you're fine, like you are in a safe environment. It's like the example of phobia of spiders I told you before. Let's say you're like now safe in your house, there's absolutely no spider, but you close your eyes, imagine a spider, right? Show you a video or something, and you straight away start feeling those feelings, right? It doesn't matter, right? It's not there. The threat is not there. But thinking about it doesn't really solve it. So we kind of have to first access the body. We calm down the body. We access the body. The body sends a message to the brain. Listen, all is safe. You can calm down. Okay. Ignoring it doesn't really help. Avoiding it, even less. Okay. A fire alarm will not stop ringing just because you just ignore it. Like, imagine house is on fire, just they're like, I'm just gonna ignore this fire alarm, and I think the fire will go out if I do that. So it's the same thing. The anxiety is basically your body, your mind, your brain screaming, something is wrong, something is wrong. And if you just, the more you try to ignore it, it's the same like you are anxious, like anxious. Okay, I need to stop being anxious. Just ignore it. It intensifies because it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger because somebody, no, you're not listening to me. This is happening. Because otherwise, like, when we don't have anxiety, okay, when we don't have those things, just to give you an example what happens, okay? So one of the structures responsible for our survival, fight and flight, and anxiety, panic, all of that, it's called the amygdala. It's a structure in our brain called the amygdala. There are some people who have lesions in the amygdala, which means the amygdala is not working properly or the amygdala is not working at all. So what happens is these people don't have fear. Like they actually walk into dangerous situations simply because they don't have fear. So if they don't have fear, if they don't have this fire alarm, these things saying, listen, something is wrong, they just, those are people who walk casually, like in the streets, and they see like a gang of people with knives in their hands. They're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm just walking here, it's all good. Because they don't feel the fear. They may see a lion next to them or something. It's like, so this is like very important. This is very protective. So what happens is if we ignore it, here I'm talking about obviously extreme situations, but if the body, the brain, and the mind think there's a dangerous situation, doesn't matter what it is. It may be like you're scared you're gonna go for your interview and you're gonna fail. Doesn't matter what it is. It sees that as a threat. If you try to ignore the feelings and the things the body is trying to tell you, it's not going to go away. It has to be dealt with. Okay. So the how, we do not fight anxiety. There's this idea that you fight anxiety, you fight cancer, you fight whatever illness, you don't fight it. You work with it. Because that is a part of you, whether you like it or not. And you have anxiety attacks, part of you. Sorry. Have an illness, part of you. Sorry. And we don't fight against parts of us. We work with them. We take care of them. And this is how we heal. Okay. So we welcome this anxiety. And how do we do that? By increasing the tolerance to pleasant things. So we have to be tolerant to these unpleasant feelings. And when we get the anxiety attacks, we get all those unpleasant feelings that you described on the chat, you know, this shaking and you know, this pain. You just have to tolerate them and increase your tolerance by just being with it. Okay, it's like, this is really uncomfortable. And you can even describe it. What helps as well as describing it. It's like, just really uncomfortable. And like, my hand is shaking. I really don't like this. I'm feeling so cold. Oh my God, I'm freezing. This is awful. And you can try and describe it as much as you can. Give it description, like, I'm really freezing. Like it's like it was winter time now. It's like I'm in an ice bath. Like, really give it a voice. Okay, so Philippe has asked if I can elaborate an anxiety attack and how many shapes there are. Okay, so an anxiety attack is when it's anxiety, normal anxiety, but when it gets to the point where it's out of control. So you may be anxious about, you know, you may be waiting for the, you know, you're going on an interview, you have this anxiety, I'm just a little nervous, I'm waiting for the interview, I'm just a bit nervous. It's normal anxiety, it's normal. What's not normal is when those symptoms that you get of that little anxiety become too much, to the point you can't breathe, you can't do anything, you can't think, you can control what you do, and you start feeling really unwell. And that means like the anxiety is so big that it's inundating. I'm not sure if this is the word, like, but it's like inundating, you know, it's just becoming too much and you cannot function normally. So it's hard to explain, like, to people who never had an anxiety attack, it's hard to explain how it feels. Like, those who had it, they understand, like, it's a very distinct state of being. How many shapes there are? The shapes really vary in terms of symptoms. People have different symptoms, and there's this idea that anxiety attack has to be like this, like, huge, like, expression, like you can see the person has an anxiety attack. An anxiety attack can be as simple as someone like being really quiet, really contained, and it's just like this, like, and like inside they're exploding, but outside they're like really quiet, and it doesn't seem like they're having an anxiety attack. You also have like high functioning anxiety. Those people have anxiety, but they're just functioning as normal. They're functioning as normal, but their functioning is like very, very rapid, very, 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 very strange function. Okay. So like there are different types of, and you can have different symptoms. And some people don't even know they have it. They have one, and sometimes they don't know because they are they have high functioning anxiety, or they have like, you know, they have this, they're just like really quiet, but they don't feel good. It's like, oh, I don't have to breathe. Like they feel like it's hard to breathe, and they become they're feeling a little unwell, but they don't understand that's actually anxiety. So as I was saying, increasing this tolerance to unpleasant feelings by giving it a voice, by describing it, and again, not being scared, because they are protectors. It's like, oh, here are my protectors. Oh, here they are. Anxiety is a release. It's a release of energy. It's a release of emotion. It's an expansion. We say in therapy is an expansion. You're expanding something out. It's the opposite of containing. And containing becomes sickness. What is not expressed is impressed. So when we don't express feelings, when we're very contained, we're all stuck up all the time, and we're just like, you know, ignoring the feelings, ignoring everything, thinking positively all the time, that is harmful. Because what the body does not express, it impresses. And the impression is illness. It becomes like, but can become physical illness. Because why? Why? Because the heart is in constant pressure. You know, the body is in this constant state, and this constant state is not healthy for the body. The body needs to be in equilibrium course, you have stress, of course, you have anxiety, but it also needs to come back to other states. It needs to live in various different states, otherwise it becomes sick. Okay. Now let's talk about during an anxiety attack. You're just having it just now. So what you do? Non-verbal techniques, please. This all. Someone's having an anxiety attack and you're like, okay, but what's wrong? But everything's, but I'm here. Oh, think about that. And, remember the other time we did this, and let's think about something else. And, okay, you can use words such as, calming words. It's okay, like I'm here with you or something like that. Always using this monotonous voice. Don't use a high-pitched voice. Don't just monotonous. Okay, I'm here with you. Okay, I'm here. You don't need to worry. Like this, like kind of like calming, but very monotonous voice. Why? Because the brain is very, when it comes to keeping you safe, like audition is like the first, is one of the only senses that doesn't go through much processing. You go straight to the limbic system, responsible for emotions and survival. So the sounds, the brain's very, very sensitive to the sound. And if I'm talking with someone who's having an anxiety attack, and I just raise my voice when I speak pitched voice, or I change my voice tone, it's kind of like activating the survival structures. They're trying to make sense of what's going on, of the words that are coming in the tone of voice, and if we are in danger or not. It's very important to keep this always the same level, kind of voice, very calm. Now, bringing the energy down. Anxiety means the energy is here. Okay, so we have to like slowly try and bring the energy down. How do we do this? By doing grounding. So when someone is having an anxiety attack, or you having it, try to feel the floor, like the floor, the legs, attention on the legs, and pressing down your feet on the floor with the toes. Usually we walk with the toes like this. It's normal, we just have the toes like that. But curl the toes to really touch the ground. Okay, so really touching the ground and then really feeling the legs. Because anxiety is here. It's this happening in your brain, triggering the message to the body. And when you start bringing the energy down, we're focusing on like the lower part of the body, but this grounding to the body. And you can do that by doing what I just said, and also imagining your energy. If you need to use visualization, so help with imagining the energy down. You can even do the movement, or if you're helping somebody, do the movement with them, like ground. This idea of stay down, we are here, touch to the floor. Other thing you can do, and this is a psychotherapy, somatic psychotherapy technique, is use touch, especially on the legs, all leg, okay, and you can also touch the foot, and the touch, it's like this. It's like, let me see if I can, without the camera, let me see if I can, okay, so the touch is like this. Use the whole palm, and you do like that. And that's called a heart touch. It's a grounding kind of touch, is this. So just not much pressure. Be careful not to like be aggressive. You can do it to yourself if you're having anxiety. Do your legs. So grounding. So everything that can cause sensations in the lower part of the body, like this touch, or you can just caress, that's absolutely fine. Anything that can cause sensations helps this grounding. Also controlling the temperature. Like, the person, if you're really cold, it's helpful to try and warm them up a little bit. So controlling this temperature. If the person is really hot, open a window or something, just to kind of control this, because that's another response that the body has of like making you cold or warm to protect you. And here, like when we feel warm, feel cold, and you feel warmer, then it's helpful for the brain to understand that everything is fine. Now we are back to the normal temperature. So it means everything is fine. Now, in between, so this is the thing about anxiety, is this idea that, okay, you deal with anxiety when you're having it. No. If you want to be able to deal with anxiety, it's a full-time job. It's in the in-betweens. The in-betweens are more important than when it's happening. When you're not anxious is when you work on solving anxiety. And a good thing you can do is understand how it starts and develops. So start to understand, okay, how does it start? What sensations? So here we're paying attention to the body. What sensations? How does it develop? How does it end? What's the process, the entire process of the anxiety? And this helps you feel more comfortable with it, because like, I know how this starts. I know how it's going to go next. I know what's going to happen next. Now I'm going to have this symptom. And it gives the sensation you are in control. You know what's going to happen next. And you don't get that scared. Other thing is practicing the calming exercises. Okay. So the calming exercises can be breathing, it can be meditation, it can be whatever helps you. Okay. But you have to do this every day. To the 5 minutes meditation a day, you have to do breathing exercises. Like those breathing exercises we do during an anxiety attack or when you're having anxiety, try to breathe deep. Other thing, don't breathe, don't go and be like, try and breathe deeply during an anxiety attack. Okay, you know, we have this thing, oh, shh, breathe deeply, breathe with me. It's not that helpful, because it's like you're trying to, it just only instigates more the answer. So what we do is we try and slow down the breathing, but we don't breathe too deep. You breathe normally, but very slowly. And then only when you're in a more calm state, you can breathe deeply. Then that's fine. But otherwise, we're just triggering more. Okay, so these exercises, you practice them daily. Because here what we're practicing is the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system. We are trying to, most of the time, have it activated. And the more we practice it, the more neural pathways we have, the more the body is used to that. So when you have an anxiety attack or you're dealing with extreme anxiety, that part can kick in. But if you don't practice it, it's very hard to do it on the spot. Okay, so you have to take care of your nervous system in the meanwhile, in between. So a good way to do this is to have a reminder on your phone every 3 hours to do some deep breathing. Okay? And it can be like, you should always do it through the nose, to the belly, breathe in, nose, belly, and then out. And you do like 1 minute of this. Put a timer in your phone every 3 hours or 2 hours, whatever you decide, and do like for 1 minute. Very slowly. And you can do this everywhere. You're working, can do it like you're driving. You can do this anywhere. Like you don't need to stop what you're doing to do this. And it's gonna helps you trigger this. So when you are having this anxiety, that is easier to breathe slow. Also, it's good to go to the to go deeper in the question. So why do you feel anxious and what triggers it? What kind of thoughts trigger it? And sometimes it's good to go further into those thoughts. Like, okay, you may say, I am an anxious person because I have an unstable life, or I am an anxious person because I'm dealing with a lot of different things right now, or because my relationship makes me feel this way, or because my boss does this to me all the time, whatever it is, try to go deeper. But why do I feel this way? But why, let's say, like go deeper, like ask more questions. The more you get an answer, ask a question. Get an answer, ask a question. Because this at the cognitive level, you're breaking the pattern. And the brain goes from automatic and reactive to introspective. And introspective, this is automatic reactive. Introspective is this. And it stops the brain from just reacting to things constantly. It gives you back the control of, okay, we are reacting like this all the time. But why? And you give space for your brain to kind of like process what's going on at a deeper level. It's useful to do this. You can write it down or talk with a friend about it, or even better with a psychologist or psychotherapist or life coach, whoever you have to help you. Because they can help you ask the questions. They can help you with that. Then you can also start thinking about, okay, is it true what I'm thinking when I'm having a lot of anxiety? Is it true what I'm thinking now? Is there evidence? You can throw phrases such as like, I'm not sure if this event will happen for sure. And the brain starts to be unsure if there's a threat. So we're actually asking them, okay, but is this true? Is there evidence? Like, can I see it? Am I sure this is going to happen? And the brain starts, okay, no, I'm not sure if there's something I need to respond to. Hold on. And it brings you back to this introspectiveness again. During an anxiety attack, it's impossible to do all of this. Forget about it. Too late. You're just already like this. But in the betweens and in the after, you can access this more cognitive level. In the during, be accessing the body. Forget it. Like, you cannot go here anymore. But in the betweens or in the after, then you can start go to it like cognitive. Very, very important is figure out what are your resources. And this is different for everybody. What calms you down? Can be the most silly thing ever. But you have to figure out, make a list of what calms you down. What are your resources that you can resource to when you're having anxiety? Something that you can go to, like your safe, construct your safe spaces and your safe resources, but you need to know what they are. So it could be, I don't know, it could be walking, it could be scrolling Facebook for all I know, it could be drinking some water, it could be, I don't know, looking at funny videos, it could be writing, reading, like list all the activities that make you feel good and that calm you down and make you feel well and safe. Just all the activities. And it could be something really stupid, okay? Doesn't matter. If it works for you, then that's what matters. And then working on expression. So the thing with anxiety is something that was contained, and has to explode. So if you are a person that contains a lot, just contains, and don't express yourself much, just containing everything all the time throughout the day, it's important you find your places of expression and expansion. And then again, they could be writing, it could be singing, it could be exercise, it could be, I don't know, it could be drawing, could be painting. Usually arts are the best, but it could be, it doesn't necessarily, it has to be something artistic. There's this therapy called I think it's shaking therapy or something like that, where people just shake. That's it. That's the therapy. And it could be just at the end of the day, just shake the body, or a warm shower at the end of the day to just release and just enjoy the feeling of the water. And It's like these people, there are people who have like the sensation of when you take a shower and it's like just cleansing, you know, it's I need to go and shower just to clean the day. So it could be that, and really imagining, you know, that I'm really cleaning energies, everything just okay. So it could be your little small ritual that you do at the end of the day or throughout the day to have this expansion. So it doesn't get everything contained and then obviously you get the explosion, the explosion of the feelings. Okay, so I invite you now to do a few exercises and then just a little bit, and then I'll answer any questions and yeah, and then that's it. So now I invite you to do a little breathing exercise, but I want you to pay attention to your sensations. If it gets too much at some point, you stop it. I'm not there with you to help you. Okay, so don't trigger yourself an anxiety attack. What we're doing is just exploring. If it gets too much, you stop. Okay. So we're just doing the exercise, but I want you to pay attention to the sensations in the body, but also how is your breathing when you breathe deeply? Is it like, and you contain and then
Excuse me.
Hello?
Was it my connection that was really bad, or was it yours? Did everyone else hear her?
It was difficult.
I can repeat. It's fine. It's fine. I can
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah. So I was saying that we're going to do an exercise, like a breathing exercise. If it gets too much, then you stop. Okay. And the exercise is going to be, I want you to pay attention to all the sensations, but also how is your breathing? How is your flow of breathing? For instance, like I have a girl who's doing like my coaching sessions, and I noticed when she was breathing, like we were doing like deep breathing, she was containing. She was like, and then she would release. And I was like trying to understand, because she has this problem of containing all the time. And we're working on that. And then in the breathing, she was doing that. And I said, okay, we need to get into the flow. So I was like, use the gestures to flow, to, like I say. So this is continuous, it's not in and out. Okay, so just be curious, because these or other things can be happening to you, and then you can try and work on the flow of the breathing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we breathe into the belly and out through the mouth. It can be as deep or as not deep as you want. It has to be slow, so don't do it too fast. But it can be as slow or as moderate as you want. Okay, and we're going to do it for, like, let's do 5 of them, but be mindful of your body, what sensations are triggered in the body. Okay, so, and if there's like any thoughts coming in, because they will come in, I invite you to just, like, let's say there's a thought coming in, like, what you're gonna have for dinner later, and here is come what I'm gonna have for dinner later. And you're like, okay, the thought is here, you can go now. Acknowledge it. Don't try not to think. Acknowledge, okay, the thought is here, you can go now. The thought is here, you can go now. Just keep acknowledging the thoughts and letting them go. Okay, so let's do it all together, and we do 5 times. Okay, so into the nose. You can close your eyes. Back to normal. And the next exercise is to do the touching I was saying before. Like, so basically what you do is straight on your chair, okay? And I want you to come a bit further on your chair, like just at the edge. And then your legs on the ground, feet really on the ground with the toes curling in, like it's like you're grabbing the ground with your foot, with your feet like that. And really feeling the floor, like pressing down the floor and using your hands to just do this touch all the way down from the top of the legs to the very bottom. And really checking the sensations that you get when you're doing that. Here we're feeling like the strength of the body, the structure of the body. Okay, so you can explore that later. You know, even doing just those exercises, take your 5 minutes a day to do the breathing and those exercises. And another thing you can do as well, very help. We already do that, by the way. When we are tired and when we are stressed, we go like this. Just like, oh, so stressed. This triggers the parasympathetic nervous system and the vagus nerve, also responsible for keeping you calm. So you can do that. Just here and here. I was trying to show you what's the spot here. So you can do here and then just here.
Wait, what'd she say? What was that? That has nothing to do with it.
So here, just pressing, you can do like circular movements or you can do like this, doesn't really matter, whatever feels good to you. And here, like right here in the ear, this little bit on both sides. And straight away, like you are triggering some points. So doing this few minutes a day will help you. And you'll see it takes time. So don't think it's like, okay, tomorrow I'm good. It takes time, but it works. You'll find yourself breathing deeply automatically. You'll find yourself walking more grounded automatically. You'll see these differences with time. Okay. So like those are just the exercises, like just you know, a group of exercises that I wanted to give you. They are very simple, and you can, if you are a busy person, you can be like at work, listening to a work call, and just like and doing like the exercises. Be creative. You can do this like like when you're doing something else at the same time. Okay, so I want to go to the chat in the meanwhile, because everyone said different symptoms, so I want to go one by one. Okay, so Amy, shaky hands, needing to bite nails and scratch. Okay, so Amy, here what you're doing when you bite the nails and you scratch, you want to self-activate. You want to, here is your need of feeling the body, is your need to hold on to your body. Okay, this biting and scratching. So here what I advise you to do is to find alternatives that are healthy for the scratching. And it could be grabbing. Instead of scratching, just really grabbing your arms or your, you know, whatever you feel like, just the grabbing. And You know, you can even use like the nails. You want to bite the nails, like you can press the nails. This is self-activating the body and is not, and you're not harming yourself. You're not doing anything bad. Or hold an ice cube. People who suffer from self-harm, they do that, like holding an ice cube or something that is healthy. But in your daily life, I invite you, in your daily life, whatever you are doing, you're washing the dishes, simple as that. Feel the water in your hands. Feel the body standing there. Feel how your arms are moving while you're washing. What I want to advise you here is to work on somatic exercises. Like in your daily life, notice your body. How does it move? How do you get out of bed? How do you make your coffee? How do you hold your mug? How does the clothing feel on your skin? How does it feel to lay your head on a pillow? All those, this is advice for everyone. It's good for everybody, but I'm just talking with Amy specifically here. Just to get you that, you know, this feeling of the somatic experience will help you with that. And then the shaking, you have the shaky hands. When this shaking is very prominent, it's very obvious in your anxiety attacks, it means release. You need a lot of release. You may be the kind of person who's always super, you know, super tight, super contained. So in your daily life, it's also good to remember to shoulders down, chest open, stretch arms. Think about how, in which ways you can expand more the body and have your body more expanded. Okay. Then we have restlessness is the same thing, fidgeting and internal fight or flight response. Okay. Linda is saying about rapid breathing and feeling immobile. So this is one, here you're describing one of the types of anxiety attacks that I was saying that, you know, when you just, it can be this kind of anxiety attack, when just like this. You can't move and you don't want to move and you're just like frozen. And it means that in the fight or flight response, you chose freeze. Your body chose the freezing. Okay. So here is helpful to find in your, and then you have your heart rush and you just, hold on, no, you have rapid breathing. Okay. Here is helpful is to find the slow movements. So in your daily life, and even when you're having the anxiety attack, is finding what very slow movements you can start making. And it can be like really invisible, just this slow action is like to get you out of that freezing state. Is slow, like slow movements you can do. You are the kind of person who could do activities like Tai Chi, stuff like that, like very slow kind of activity. Then we have, I got lost in the Nadine, okay. Okay, is that for the daughter who has insomnia? Okay. I mean, obviously, relieving anxiety can help with insomnia, but insomnia is all new topic. So I also suffer from insomnia. It's hard to give you advice because I don't know why she suffers from insomnia, and this is more an anxiety kind of workshop. Email me and tell me why. Like, give me more details about this situation, and I may be able to help you. Okay. Okay, ruminating thoughts, biting nails, and okay. So these ruminating thoughts, Philip, now it's about controlling the thoughts. It's about mastering the thoughts, and it's having this ability to look at the thought. Okay, things that you can do is, as I said before, when a thought comes in, you're like, okay, you're here, you can go now. Acknowledge you came here. Thank you for your visit. Right? Other things you can do is think about, this is a very nice trick. if you have a lot of worrying thoughts, pick a day of the week and say, I'll worry about this on Friday. Friday, 4 o'clock, I'll deal with this thought. I bet with you most of the time, Friday, 4 o'clock, most of those worries are not there anymore. They're gone. There's something that didn't happen. You didn't need to worry about.
I tried that, but it doesn't work. It's not easy to do that.
Okay. So they become like, what happens? It becomes stronger. What happens?
You cannot stop it. It comes back after 20 seconds. It's
Mhm.
again
But have you
too
tried like
strong.
acknowledging it and then letting it go?
I tried, but I can't. It doesn't work for me.
Okay.
I cannot do that.
And have you tried grounding techniques in terms of like grounding the body like we just did just now, and also paying it like awareness, mindfulness, like paying attention to the present moment? What sensations do you have in your body? Is it cold or is hot? Is it sunny or, what's in your, what's the color of the walls? Like stuff.
That's one question I would like to do. Is I feel in my belly, it's a strange feeling, like as if I'm in danger. I feel some weird sensations in the belly. And this is the main symptom I have. I cannot remove it or make it go away, but that sensation invades my mind and bad thoughts come and go and it cannot stop. So it's like, I don't know what to do with that.
Question, does the sensation comes first or the thoughts?
Sensation first.
Okay.
And it's related with bad sleeping. So if I have a bad night of sleep, that's when the sensation comes, and then thoughts come, and then that's a snowball, and then it goes in a spiral mode.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you this. What happens is the body has sensations. Tells the brain, I'm having this and that sensation. You are the one you attribute meaning to the sensation. So what happens is like sometimes in the morning, this is an example, wake up, we feel bad. It just happens. I feel bad. Like you just feel bad and you don't know why. Okay, you don't know why. Just woke up, maybe you had nightmares, doesn't matter, but you just don't know why you're feeling bad. The brain will attribute meaning to it and you'll start thinking everything that is wrong with your life to justify the feeling. And then what happens is it triggers the feeling and then you feel it more and you start thinking about more things in your life that are wrong to make, and this is
Exactly.
it's never
kind of like that,
right?
Yes. But I know what is the trigger, so this is the only thing so far I understood. I know what's the trigger.
Okay, that's fine.
I know what's the trigger.
So
I cannot stop it. When I'm there, I cannot stop.
So maybe work on that, obviously the trigger, which is the sleeping, but also work on when you feel a sensation, when you feel that thing you described to me now, stop and think. Instead of thinking what this could be, just think, okay, it's actually not, it's not what I want to say. Instead of putting a label like this is that, I feel like this because of whatever, just think this could be, I could feel this way for so many different reasons. And one of them, maybe you're hungry. Maybe you're tired again. You may be tired. Maybe you just need to have some water. Start thinking about your basic needs first. Think about your basic needs. Think about, it can be so many different things. So acknowledging this feeling and taking care of it instead of trying to put a label on it and try to, why am I feeling this way?
That's a good one, because I tried to do like, okay, you just had a bad night of sleep. That's why you have the. It's still not enough, but it helps, but it's still not enough. Yeah, but it's a good tip.
Do you, and also, do you write it down?
Not in the moment. I'm not in the mood in the moment, but afterwards I do. Afterwards.
I know you're not in the mood, but force yourself to do it. Okay. Language is very powerful, especially the writing down, because language in writing has action. You have the action of actually writing it down.
Okay.
So the movement is important. When we talk with a friend, but the movement of actually writing it down and seeing it and reading it is helpful. So force yourself to write it down. You'll see it, it's amazing. You'll see a difference. With the writing it down is, writing is taking off here and putting there.
Mhm.
And the talking with a friend, we just talking. But writing is actually putting it down. It gives it structure. The writing gives it something to look at. It materializes it, makes it a material. It's no longer a thought, it's a material now that you can look at, you can grab, you can rip it, you can do whatever you want with it, but it's something that you can do something. And when it's just here, the only thing you can do about those thoughts is think about them. Okay?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
But try that and see how it will work with you.
Okay, thanks.
It seems to me the techniques that I just said before about the somatic techniques, about feeling the body and, you know, just feeling sensations in the body and how your body moves and your posture, do those things as well, because it seems to me you are a person who's here. You are very mental.
Completely.
You are a person you're not a lot in your body. With those exercises and you start getting into your body, you start getting less into here, which means this doesn't rule as much. So do the tips that I just gave to the fellow participants, do them as well. And it doesn't take much of your time because you can do it anywhere. Like just whatever you're doing, you can just do it anywhere.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So I'm just checking if there's any, okay, no more symptoms, right? So any questions, before any questions, I just want to introduce you my coaching. It's something that I started recently and is a coaching based on body. It's body-centered coaching and it's based on everything: neuroscience, psychology, body practices. As you've seen, like all the tips that I gave you include the human as a whole, like the mind, the brain, and the body. This is my approach in coaching. I go to every layer and I work on every layer. And this is why my coaching is very, very different and much more effective from session one. So far, from session one, people start getting better. Whatever it is, people start getting much better. And I'm a life coach and mental health coach as well. So here's all my details. The first consultation is free, so nothing to lose. And then it's only 15 euros per consultation. And there's like different packages. And there's one package that is 6 months of consultations for 10 euros. Becomes like 10 euros consultation. So it's like very, very affordable because I want to make this help affordable. And yeah, so if you are interested in having consultation, I'll leave the details in the chat. Here's my website. On my website, you can see the reviews, you can see my life story, and you'll see I went through really a lot of stuff. And you can see like this doesn't come only from diplomas and my knowledge about, you know, just theory, but it comes from a lot from experiencing and understanding what people are actually going through. So the first link that I sent you there is, yeah, it's the website, my WhatsApp number, my email, or if you want to book the consultation, click that link. It will send you to my other project, the Neuroscience of Dance, which is a different project, but you can book it through there, okay? It's my website too, so don't worry. Or you can just email me. You probably received my email with a link. You can just email me back. I say, oh, hey, I'm interested in a consultation. What's your availability? I'm very flexible, even if you are in the US. I'm usually awake until late. That's how my brain works. So I give consultations at 11 in the night for me here. So I'm very flexible with timing. And yeah, so any questions that you want to ask me? Or comment if you want to comment, like, has this been helpful, not helpful? Do you have any tips that you want to share with the rest of us? Like maybe something that works for you.
May I say something? Hi.
Yes. Hi, Lina.
Hi. Well, I find this amazing. It's really helpful. Also, for the reason that I came to understand it a little bit better. And I must say, I also saw myself that I had anxieties. So while having this talk, and the exercises are great. So thank you very much. And yeah, I hope you continue doing this. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, and it's very lovely to meet you. And I'm glad that you took something good from it. Any other questions or comments? Anything you'd like to share from your own experience? Okay, so if you have questions later, I'm gonna send you an email, a follow-up email, maybe with all this information, and then and with the recording, I can give you access to these recordings if you want to rewatch it for some reason. And then if you have any questions, just email me back. You also have my WhatsApp number, which is Australian. I live in Australia, so don't worry, it's really my WhatsApp. You can ask me questions if you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure if I want life coach, is this for me or not? We can have a call, 5-minute call, and talk a little bit, so I can get a more like personal approach with you. Okay, so Jessica said something I wasn't clear about. Is the what is that, Jessica? Oh, consistency. Consistency of.
Yeah. Sorry, the consistency of training the parasympathicus to go through these exercises to be able in the moment of such a rush to go back to normal.
Yeah. The consistency is as much as you can do, and if it's daily, even better. Daily, this, you know, once I've heard something about, I do daily meditation, and I've heard something, it was like a TED talk, I don't know, but it was like, do you go a day without brushing your teeth? And I was like, I don't. Do you go a day without eating or drinking water? I don't. So why do you go a day without doing meditation? And I was like, so like, the things we have to do to take care of our bodies and to maintain ourselves, we do them. No failure, we do them. But when it comes to our mental health, you know, stays on the background. So taking this 2 minutes you take a day to brush your teeth, you also do your 5 minutes a day or your 3 minutes a day. And if you cannot do 1 minute, one is better than nothing. Like I have someone that I'm helping at the moment, and in my coaching sessions, and she's like, oh my God, I don't have time. But the little bit, like from one session to the other, the little bit she's done, like the little bit she managed had an impact, and she didn't realize. And then I was like, notice, like, I can see an improvement. She's like, oh, but I barely done I've only done 1 minute, and you say 3. So okay, but that minute is better than nothing. So don't underestimate if you cannot do much.
I have one question about your opinion about the medicine that I mean, I have in a family it's diagnosed anxiety with depression. So, but unfortunately, the big thing of it is the medicine. They all rely on medicine and with no limits. So, what's your opinion about that, and how to help someone who is really hooked now on the medicine? Really much, like without medicine, she goes mad, even worse than it was without medicine. So.
Of course she does. You know why she does? Because the thing with medicine, we take the medicine, and touching on our neurotransmitters in the brain. What happens is the brain is very clever. So when we are giving the brain things, the brain thinks it doesn't need to produce them anymore. It's like, oh, we get this from outside. I don't need to do it, right? I don't need to do the work. The brain is efficient. It doesn't want to overwork. I don't need to do the work. So now we're taking the medicine. When the medicine is away, the brain is not used to make that amount that is necessary. Okay. So here with the medicine is first, you have to decrease it very, very slowly. Second, you have to kind of replace it with other things that are not medicine. Those exercises that I told you, and there are a million different other ones. And the third thing is having the help of a psychotherapist or a psychologist that is right for you. Okay, people say, oh, I went to the psychologist, it didn't work. It was not right for you. You have to find someone who's right for you. Like for me, I found a therapist, was doing cognitive comportamental therapy. It worked for me so wonderfully. It was like a few sessions. But it's having the right therapist for you. But you need to have a therapist, because if you don't work on the cognition, if you don't work on the body is very important. If you don't work on the body, you can do whatever you want here. You can take whatever medicine you want. The body, what the body has to say is more important than anything else. Your body keeps a lot of information. So really working on those things with a psychotherapist and a psychologist at the same time. Very, very important. I'm not against medicine, but medicine is there to help. It's not there to fix. Completely different thing. Okay, so any other questions or? Okay, so again, I'll send you a follow-up email in a few hours, and then if you have any questions, you can reply to the email, and I'm very happy to help you. Or if you want to discuss any other issues that you're having, just any other things about you or someone you know, I'm happy to help. Okay. So thank you. It was lovely to meet you all. I'm glad you came here. Thank you so much, Philippe.
Thank you very much.
Keep me up, Philippe. Keep me updated how that goes.
Okay.
The exercise.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.